well as safe shots from goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday fun day. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Over here on SportsGrid Sports TV on X, we've got 5 games on the slate today. We're going to go over each and every single one of these games, picks, props, and predictions, and then we will do the recap at the end of the show. And let's build a long shot goal scoring parlay. Let's go with that. Let's round robin some of these players for player props. Let's have some fun here. How's your Sunday starting, everyone? Don't forget to check out the SportsGrid app for my Madden Quickie. You don't want to miss out on that. That is up already this morning, and I'm loving the dogs. So just to let you know, in the NFL, I think the dogs are absolutely barking today. I think we see some crazy upsets. I got 2 home dogs for you, a road dog as well as a home favorite that this team has not been the favorite in the last 2 seasons, and I think the books know something. I think we ult up those numbers, so make sure you go over, check out the Madden Quickie on the SportsGrid app for that. Let's jump into today's hockey slate, though, you guys. That's what we're here for. Let's make some freaking money on the ice. The first game we're going to look at is New York Islanders taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, the Blackhawks on the second night of a back-to-back. We do have the Isles coming in here with the rest advantage. These teams haven't played since Thursday, and they played each other on a Thursday. So that's what I mean. They haven't played each other since Thursday, but the Isles were able to get a 5-4 win in that one. And now they've been rested. We've seen Chicago play it last night, coming off that game where they played the New Jersey Devils. They got up in that second period. They held the Devils off the board in the first, got up 1-0 in the second, and then the third period, the Devils said, oh, crap, we're playing hockey. Let's get to it, and put up 4 goals on Chicago. So Chicago coming off that loss, as the Devils it was like a cat playing with their toy out there with the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks now at home, plus 152 on the money line, minus 184 here for the Isles. Total sitting at 5.5. I do think we have to isolate the Chicago Blackhawks in this situation. Sorokin is confirmed in goal for the Isles, and I love what he's been able to do versus Chicago. You look at him in 5 games versus Chicago in his career, he's gone 4-0-1. We also have a goals against average of 2.02 and a save percentage of 919. Chicago, we know, has struggled to score all season. I can't trust them to put up goals on Sorokin to help us with this total, but I'm worried about taking the total under 5.5. because I know what the Isles will be able to do if it is Sonderblom like expected in net for Chicago. So full game, I'm going to say off that total of 5.5. I lean to the under, but what I love here is looking at Chicago's team total. Chicago has a team total of 2.5, and yes, you're going to have to lay the juice. Minus 130 to the under 2.5, but that's where I'm going to go. I struggle to see this team on the second night of a back-to-back being able to get those goals on a goaltender that has always played them so hard. Now, how to bet the Isles here? I like the Isles in regulation. You're not getting great value. It's minus 110. I still think they get the job done, and they can win this in reg. I do like the puck line, though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a half a unit on the Isles in reg and a half a unit on the Isles on that puck line. I do think they'll be the team that scores tonight, and I think they're going to be able to limit Chicago. So I will lay the puck line laying 1.5 here with the Isles coming in at plus 142. Now, they won their last 2 meetings versus Chicago as well. And we look here at Chicago. They've struggled really against this Metro team, and I know the Isles don't have the best numbers. We've seen some inconsistencies out there with them, especially on the road, 6-5-5 on the road this season. But the Chicago Blackhawks at home, they're only 4-8 at home. I just don't see the upset coming into this one. Yeah, we could see that over, right? Like, that's the problem here. If Chicago puts up 2 goals, I think the Isles put up enough to cover the puck line, so then they put up 4, which pushes us over the total of 5.5. That's why I really want to isolate the Chicago Blackhawks here. Creekman, you are a brave man for sure, looking at the Chicago Blackhawks in this game here. I don't blame you. It's just I look at Sorokin's numbers and I just can't get there, especially with Sonderblom expected to get the start. And the dogs are barking. I love when the dogs are freaking barking out on the ice and out there on the football field. Let's look now at Buffalo. The Buffalo Sabres looking desperately to break this losing streak. They've lost their last 9, and this team is frustrating if you've been betting them. We've been betting them in the first period, and that has been cashing for us. They're coming in at plus 172 on the money line versus Toronto. Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs played last night, but so did the Buffalo Sabres. So both these teams on that second night of a back-to-back. Toronto was out on the road, so no at home, no travel rest advantage here for them. Just both of these teams traveling to Toronto for this game. Minus 110 or minus 210 here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. If it was minus 110, I'd be signed up all day. Plus 172 for the Sabres, a total of 6.5. Now, the juice to the total is on the under. It's minus 142 to the under right now on a FanDuel. James Reimer expected here for the Buffalo Sabres. And when we look at Toronto, Hidby is expected to come into net. Now, he's got not great numbers. We've seen him in 2 starts out here for Toronto. In the last start, he got absolutely lit up. He allowed 6 goals on 38 shots by the Columbus Blue Jackets. The game before, though, he got more support. The defense only allowed 23 shots on him. He allowed 2, and that was versus the New Jersey Devils. So we'll see what we get out of this defense on the second night of back-to-back. I do expect Buffalo to be able to put some goals on him in this situation. Wall played last night, and Stolarz is out with illness. So I'm going to look at the Sabres to come out and do what they've been doing for us. Even though they've lost their last 9, we've still been making money off this team. They're getting up in the first period, and then they're giving away these games. Toronto traveling back home, you could see that letdown in the first period. Now, they are off the loss versus the Red Wings last night. So that is a dangerous situation to look at Toronto and go against them, especially with how strong they are at home, 13-4 at home. So I don't want to go against them for the full game. I'm playing around with a couple of things in this one because I think the Sabres can get up, but with Toronto off that second or off that loss last night to the Red Wings, and the Red Wings were a big dog. Remember that, you guys. We were able to cash on them nicely yesterday. I'm looking at the Sabres to come out in the first period and put a goal on the board. So just a goal on the board for the Sabres in the first period, coming in at minus 124. I think it's the safest bet here. I think between Alex Tuch and Tage Thompson, you could look at both of them for that anytime goal scorer. I think one of them scores right away in this first period, but it doesn't have to be the first goal, and they don't even have to win that first period. I am going to put a little bit of money, though, on Buffalo in the first period because that trend has been playing true for us. We've been cashing on that. That's coming in at plus 138. So I'll put a half unit on Buffalo just to score in the first period at minus 124. The other half a unit on Buffalo in the first period on the money line at plus 138. Now, I do think the first period can go over 1.5 goals as well. Toronto is going to be hungry to get on that board. And James Reimer, I know that they can hit him. So if you just want to put a half unit on Buffalo to score in the first and the first period over 1.5, it seems like the safer way to go. I do like Buffalo, though, as well in the first period on the money line. So then we're going to need them to win it 2-0 in the first period, and then Toronto to wake up. And in that situation, Toronto to wake up, I'm going to be coming back in on Toronto. If it plays out the way I hope, and Buffalo goes up 2-0 in the first period, I'll come back in on Toronto. I doubt we'll get plus 1.5. We might get good value on the money line, though, with some plus money. I doubt we'll get that plus 1.5, though. So we'll see what happens in this one. I'm going to look at Alex Tuch and Tage Thompson for the anytime goals there for Buffalo. And then when we look at Toronto, Mitch Marner, I will circle, and William Nylander. I think both of those players are just so strong. Let's move on to the Columbus Blue Jackets. They are taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, the Columbus Blue Jackets are on the second night of a back-to-back. So tired legs could come to play for them in this one. The Carolina Hurricanes are off that loss on a Friday night. We had the Ottawa Senators team total over 2.5. They were able to put 3 goals on the Carolina Hurricanes, and they held Carolina completely off the board. Got the shutout win there. So super impressive what we saw out of the Senators in that game. Remember Allmark has really strong numbers versus the Canes. So looking at their next matchup, he has fantastic numbers, especially after that shutout win. The Carolina Hurricanes in this one are minus 360 here at home. This has been their strong suit. This team at home has been lights out. Now the Columbus Blue Jackets at plus 280. Second night of a back-to-back for this team. We know this team has the playmakers, and they've been able to put the puck in the back of the net. We've seen inconsistencies as of late out of Carolina. We're going to go over their losses in their last 5 and how many goals they've been allowing. This total sitting at 6.5. The 6.5 coming in at plus 100 to the over. The under is juiced, which I'm surprised by. They're expecting Columbus, I guess, not to score. Minus 122 to the under. I think Columbus will score in this one. This is their first game on the road of 2. So they played last night. They played at home. They're off an overtime loss last night at home to the Anaheim Ducks. You guys, the Ducks were cracking. We were able, I believe, I need to double check. I believe we got Columbus in the first period. And then we had more value on the Ducks. So I did go back in and bet it. At the one point where Columbus got up, I came back in on the Ducks because you guys know I wanted to get more value on the Ducks, and they were able to get that win, but we were able to get Columbus in the first period. It was either this one we were able to get Columbus in the first period, or we were able to get the Buffalo Sabres in the first period, or both. I can't remember. There was so many games yesterday, and we had so many bets out there. I looked at my book, and it was positive today. So I try not to go over all those bet slips, but I was watching all of these games, so I just can't remember how it plays out. But the Columbus Blue Jackets team total is sitting at 2.5. It's plus 136 to the over. And I think it's a great way to go here because of the inconsistencies we've seen out of Carolina. And yes, this team is sitting third in the Metro. Trocheckov is expected in goal tonight. He's been allowing too many goals for my liking. Carolina, though, in Carolina versus Columbus has been so strong. The last 4 meetings they've won in Carolina versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, outscoring them 14-3. So a little dangerous taking Columbus's team total over 2.5 just because of those trends. But how this team is playing versus what we've seen out of Carolina as of late, I think those trends are really broken. Monahan, I'm looking for that anytime goal for the Blue Jackets. He's coming in at plus 310. So the last 5 games, they lost 5 games ago. They lost to the Kraken 4-2. So they allowed those 4 goals. Then they beat the Colorado Avalanche 5-3. Then they lost to the Isles 4-3. Then they beat the Sharks 3-2. And then they lost to the Senators 3-0. I just can't trust this team really to lock down. Now they've been trading back wins and losses, as you see. So they should get this win here. But there's just no value for me to jump in on the Carolina Hurricanes at minus 360. Again, plus 280 here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, plus 1.5 at plus 112. I'm not touching that, you guys. All I'm going to do is look at Columbus's team total to the over 2.5. We get 3 goals out of them, then it doesn't matter if we get 5, 6. It doesn't matter how many goals we get out of the Carolina Hurricanes, or if they're held off the board again as Elvis stands on his head. So I'm just going to count on the team that has been proving to me they can get these goals on the board. They have lost their last 10 off a game that featured overtime, and then they're in the second night of a back-to-back, and they struggled to cover those puck lines. So not a situation I want to back them. They won and beat the Carolina Hurricanes back in November. It was a 5-4 win at home. So I think this one trends to that over, but I like Columbus's team total over the 2.5 the best, and Monahan for the anytime goal. Okay, I'm glad you are rolling there as well. Tag Thompson for the anytime goal, first period over 1.5. I love where you're going, Kev, there as well. Joseph, happy Sunday. Let's make some freaking money out there. The 4-3 style game there for Columbus and Carolina. I definitely could see it. I definitely could see Columbus pushing this one to overtime where the Canes are like, what the heck is happening now? They're looking at the situation that the Isles on deck on Tuesday, the Capitals on Friday to kick off a 4-game road trip before Christmas for this team. So they head out on the road, and then they come back home for Christmas, I'm assuming. I would think so, and then they're back out on the road again. There's no games, though, over the, well, of course, Christmas break. The Vegas Golden Knights versus the Minnesota Wild. I'm rambling today, you guys. If you know me as a person, I ramble a lot, and I try to contain myself here on these shows from going off in tangents. I can squirrel at any given moment, and I don't know about you, if you have that ability to just squirrel, go off in one direction, and then try to get back to your thoughts and go, why the heck did I go down that road? Anyway, the Vegas Golden Knights are taking on the Minnesota Wild. See, I did it again. The Vegas Golden Knights are plus 102 here on the money line, minus 122 for the Minnesota Wild. We have a total of 5.5. Now the 5.5 juice to the over at minus 130. I can see this one going over because I think Kaprizov, how hot he has been as of late, could get a hat trick tonight, you guys. I am laddering Kaprizov here for the Minnesota Wild, and this is like my favorite thing of the day that I'm doing. So I'm going to take him for 1 goal. His anytime goal coming in at plus 100. I'm going to take him for 2 goals. His 2+ goals coming in at plus 600. And then I'm going to take Kaprizov for the hat trick at plus 2,900. I'm not putting a full unit on all of those, you guys. I'm going to take my usual bet that I put on those prop bets and just split it into 3 and just have a little bit of fun with this one. The thing I don't love about Vegas, and yes, they're coming off the second night of back-to-back, but so is the Minnesota Wild. We saw them last night versus the Edmonton Oilers. In the game versus the Edmonton Oilers, they didn't put that extra push in the third period because they knew that they were going to face the Wild. Today, we didn't see, them pull goaltending or anything in that 6-3 loss. They want to beat this team here today. It's circled. And I know it was a divisional matchup in the Pacific, but once that game was gone, that game was gone. There was no way for them to get back in it. So they played a smart strategy there, not giving that extra push, not exhausting those guys in that third period when the game was basically halfway through. That third period, they knew it was over. We look here at the Minnesota Wild. They're off a home win yesterday, 4-1. They got a nice, easy win. Gustafsson will be in goal tonight, and Gustafsson is the key here for the Minnesota Wild. He's been so hot in a net, 14-5-3 with a 922 save percentage, and a goals against average is so low. 22 starts this season. I love what we've seen out of him. And on the other side, Vegas is expected to start Samsonov. Samsonov has awful numbers, 10 games so far this season, 896 save percentage. I can't trust him to limit the Minnesota Wild. So if you think Vegas, because I do like what this offense is doing, the Minnesota Wild have to stay out of the box. It is a weak kill here for Vegas, but the kill is even weaker for the Wild at 71.6%. Their power play is only 19.2, while the power play is very strong here for Vegas at 26.7%. So Vegas is clicking on the power play. Their PK isn't great, but it's worse here for the Wild. So the Wild need to stay out of the box. They need to play a smart game. Vegas just won't give enough support to Samsonov here against this Wild team. And then you look at the defense here for Vegas and the high danger shots they're allowing, and I can't trust them against Kaprizov. We know Kaprizov is rolling so hot. 20 goals so far this season, 13 goals in his last 16 games. You also look at his numbers versus Vegas. You guys, he scored 8 times in the past 12 meetings. Let's go for the hat trick today. Let's fire him right up. He is the front runner for the Hart Trophy. We were talking about the Hart Trophy last night over on In Game Live with Adam and Brady. And yeah, Kaprizov definitely the leader there and someone you have to look at if you like that award market. But it is the third game in 4 nights for both of these teams. So I think tired legs will come out on that defensive side. So I love the Wild's team total over 3.5. And I know Vegas can lock down on defense, but third game in 4 nights, I'm not seeing it, especially against with that burn burner last night versus Edmonton to turn things around that fast. I'm just not seeing it happening. I like the Wild laying the 1.5 on the puck line as well at plus 122 because of goaltending, because I think Gustafsson is strong. Vegas has to play. If they want to win this, they play a clean game, get the Wild into those situations where they're in the box, and we will lose this bet. So Wild have to come out nice and strong on discipline. They need to play discipline, and Kaprizov needs to get on the board. Okay, let's look at the last game, you guys. We are here at the New York Rangers. Complete fade right now. This Rangers team, how can anyone trust them to get things done? They're off the loss to the LA Kings last night. Now, that was a game. I love the under, and the Rangers put up no resistance defensively. Igor got pulled after allowing 5 goals, so Jonathan Quick came in. I was so blown away watching this, the lack of effort. It seems like out of the Rangers, what they're doing out there, I just don't love. Now, because Quick came in last night, who are they going to put in net? The books are still saying Quick is expected. I haven't seen that morning skate who came off the ice. So really look for this. Igor will be looking for that bounce back situation here after being pulled after allowing 5 goals. But I can't trust the Rangers in any capacity. I do think Chris Kreider you could look at to come out. Mika Zibanejad, maybe for his points as well. But I really like what the St. Louis Blues bring to the table. Both these teams on the second night of a back-to-back. The St. Louis Blues played a hard defensive battle last night versus the Dallas Stars. They did lose that one in OT, so hopefully you guys took the under with me because it was a 2-1 loss for the St. Louis Blues, staying under that total of 5.5. It was a great cash on this game. The St. Louis Blues on the money line that has so much value. They're looking to get the sweep on the season. They only played twice this season. They won back in November 5-2, so they were able to come out and win so big. This was Jim Montgomery's first game as their head coach, was versus New York Rangers. He was able to do enough to get them that win, and it was a beautiful win, 5-2. So I do think, especially with the trends, you look at the home ice advantage between these two. The home team has won 6 of the last 7. The last game, the St. Louis Blues rolled into New York, into Madison Square Garden, and got the win. So breaking those home ice trends, and I think they can get another win. They're a home dog here. We look at the St. Louis Blues. They did add Cam Fowler from the Ducks. Now, he played in last night's game versus Dallas, so now he's going to be coming in. He's making his home debut here for the St. Louis Blues, and I think you look at him for the anytime goal, and yes, he's a defenseman, but I think he's highly impactful in this game. Can't trust the Rangers right now, so his anytime goal, long shot. Yes, 100% it's a long shot. But you guys know I love that plus money. He's coming in at plus 850 for the anytime goal. You could also look at him for his point tonight if you're able to get it on the books. That's where I went first with this bet. FanDuel not offering him for a point tonight, only offering him for that anytime goal. So kind of frustrating there. If you can get it on your book, that's where I would be looking. We look at the Rangers, though. They have been their strongest out on the road, 8-5 road record. They're the Preds on Tuesday, and then the Stars on Friday. The St. Louis Blues are home versus the Devils on Tuesday, the Lightning on Thursday, the Panthers on Friday. So they're going to have that back-to-back situation with the Lightning and the Panthers this week. That's definitely a hard look ahead that they will be facing. But yeah, give me the St. Louis Blues here. Cam Fowler for the anytime goal. They've also kept games nice and tight versus the Rangers. So if the Rangers go up in this, because we look at the odds here, the St. Louis Blues at plus 110, that line is actually moving. It was plus 114, plus 118 earlier. The Rangers are minus 132. So if you think the Rangers are going to answer back off of their loss, I would look at this one to get more value if the St. Louis Blues can go up in this. That's where I like to look. Or if the Rangers go up quick, taking the St. Louis Blues plus the 1.5 on that puck line, because we will see movement in that line. The books overreact so much in hockey that it's crazy. Jumping in these games live is so much fun. So plus 1.5 right now for the St. Louis Blues is minus 225. Again, the St. Louis Blues have covered the puck line the last 4 versus the Rangers, and the Rangers, except for the last game in which the Blues were able to win, were a much stronger team. So I do like the Blues' ability to keep this one tight. So if the Rangers go out first, if you can grab the Blues plus 1.5 at like minus 120, I would be looking there. So it should be great slate of games on the ice. Yeah, I can see that one going over. You know, you've got the Rangers who just can't do anything defensively. And then the St. Louis Blues, offensively, this team can open up. Now, they can lock down too, but you saw that lockdown yesterday versus the Dallas Stars. So the over in this game, it's high, you guys, at 6.5 for a Blues game, but you definitely could see it going that way. We saw 7 goals out of them the last time these teams did face up in New York, which was just, a couple weeks ago. Okay. You guys are ready for the recap? That is all 5 games. The NFL games are kicking off in the next 35 minutes, so let's quickly fly through this recap. Let's look at those players that I would parlay round robin for those goals and their player props. Let's go. The Isles versus the Chicago Blackhawks. Give me the Isles in red coming in at minus 110. Give me the Isles laying 1.5 on that puck line at plus 142. And then my favorite bet, the Chicago Blackhawks team total under 2.5 goals coming in at minus 130. The Buffalo Sabres taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Both of these teams on the second night of a back-to-back. Buffalo has been strong, cashing us that money, getting up in the first period. I will take the Buffalo Sabres in the first period for a little bit of money on that money line coming in at plus 138. I love the Sabres to just score a goal in the first period. That's coming in at -124. And I think we can go over 1.5 goals in the first period at -124 as well. If you're just looking for my two favorite bets in that first period, it is Sabres to just score a goal in the first period and the over 1.5 in the first period. The Buffalo Sabres on the money line is a sprinkle. Alex Tuch tagged Thompson for the anytime goals. I will play on for the Buffalo Sabres. Mitch Marner and William Nylander, I will look at there for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Again, live betting situation. If the Sabres are able to go up, coming back in on Toronto for that plus money, because the Sabres can't hold a lead. They've lost their last 9. They're getting up, and then they are shooting themselves in the foot. The Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. I love Columbus to be able to score the goals on the Canes. The Canes have been inconsistent defensively and in net as of late. Give me the Columbus Blue Jackets over 2.5 goals at +138. Give me Monahan for the anytime goal. If you want bets for Carolina, Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho, you know I love parlaying those two together for their points. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild, my favorite game of the day, and I'm really hoping this one cashes for us, you guys. I love the Wild to come out. Cover that puck line, laying 1.5 on the puck line at +122. I do think they'll be able to put the goals on their board. The team total is 3.5. Give me the over 3.5 at +138. The Vegas Golden Knights are allowing those high danger shots and way too many of them. Minnesota has to stay out of the box, so if the Minnesota gets in the box, we will see Vegas capitalize, and our bets will be in jeopardy. I think Kaprizov is just so phenomenally hot. I'm going to ladder him. The anytime goal for Kaprizov at +100, 2+ goals at +600, and the hat trick at +2,900. Hell yeah, let's go. The New York Rangers versus the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues here on the money line looking to sweep the Rangers. I will sign up for it. I do think Cam Fowler in his home debut here for the Blues will be able to find the back of the net. That's coming in at +850. I think the Rangers will put up a fight. Chris Kreider for the anytime goal is a solid way to look, but I can't trust this team defensively, and I can't trust them in net. I do think second night back-to-back, harder situation for the Rangers than the St. Louis Blues. Plus, the home team has won 6 of the last 7 between these two. So it's the St. Louis Blues. That's the team I trust here. Okay, if we are going to round robin players for those player points, let's just pull it up. Now, Panarin, we know how strong he has been for the Rangers. You've got to look at Panarin for his point tonight. That will be coming. It's juicy at -250. Again, this would be a round robin parlay sort of bet here. I like Robert Thomas as well for the St. Louis Blues. So those will be my playmakers there. When we look at the Minnesota Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights, and if you just take Panarin and Robert Thomas, they're on opposite teams, but they're +110 for a point tonight together. But we're building a long shot round robin kind of parlay, and you can take whichever players you want. When I look here at the Vegas Golden Knights, we're only getting props for Vegas for those points. Why are we not getting any props for the Wild? That is really interesting, you guys. It is Kaprizov all day. Now, we can get Kaprizov for the anytime goal. So I would look at Kaprizov for the goal. I would look at Kaprizov. Actually, let's see if we're getting 2+ points for Kaprizov here. No, only points are on the board for Vegas. So let's skip that game. Just look at Kaprizov for the anytime goal. With Buffalo, I'm looking at Tage Thompson and Mitch Marner there for the Maple Leafs and Tage Thompson. Alex Tuch. I would look at all three. So if you want to take Mitch Marner, Tage Thompson, Alex Tuch for a same game parlay for each for a point, that's coming in at +250. Again, you can do the 6 legs that we've already talked about, coming in at 1374. And we're just going to look at the Columbus Blue Jackets because I want to add to this points Shane Monahan. So let's look at Monahan for the point, and then we're going to look at Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis because you know I love parlaying them together. Okay, so these are the round robin kind of bets. I'm going to do same game parlays. So if you want to grab out your pens, this is where I'm going. If you look at the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Carolina Hurricanes game, I love Monahan today to get on the board. I love Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis. You know I always parlay those two together. If you look at all 3 of them for a point just in this same game parlay, it's coming in at +231. So that's Monahan, Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis in the Carolina Hurricanes and Columbus Blue Jackets game just for a point at plus 231. I love that. If we look at the Buffalo Sabres versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, we're at plus 250 for 3 players for a point. That's Mitch Marner for a point, Tage Thompson for a point, and Alex Tuch for the point, coming in at plus 250. If we look at the Rangers versus the St. Louis Blues games, Panarin and Robert Thomas here for the point, coming in at plus 110 parlay together. And then Kaprizov. You know I'm high on Kaprizov today. I'm not getting any player props for the Wild except for Kaprizov or for the Wild's goals. They're not giving us the points, but I would look at him for his points tonight. We're going to stay off that. If you put all 9 of those legs together, plus 47.88. So it has every opportunity of hitting you guys. That's where I would be looking at those player points. But you guys, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Enjoy today's action out there on the ice, and let's make some freaking money in the NFL. Again, if you haven't checked the SportsGrid app yet for my Madden Quickie, make sure you do so. I'm smelling upsets like crazy today. I've got 2 home dogs for you. I got a favorite that should not be a favorite, but they should. They haven't been a favorite over the last 2 seasons. So I'm laying 6.5 with that team. I'm guessing you can guess who that is. And then I have a road favorite or a road dog that I love. So 4 bets up in the Madden Quickie. You can watch it in under a minute. And then my Cup of Joe. I'm going to do that right now. So you guys, I'll talk to you soon. I'm going to do the Cup of Joe. Let's make some freaking money out there today. If you can hit that like button, hit that retweet button. I so appreciate it. Cheers, you guys.